When did you ever first heard of RWBY? Like what year? How long ago? How did you find out about it? Was it Death
I'm
Battle?
not. No, I didn't know about Ruby from Deathbed. I'm not sure. Know that it was Ruby, but I saw some characters from Ruby popping up in my socials basically.
Okay,
But I
so
didn't know that they were from Ruby.
I can see. Yeah, I understand. 100%.
Mm,
But
yeah.
once they find out was that there was a show, have you considered watching it, or you're just like, oh, there's a show, and just moved on with your life?
I didn't really consider watching it. It's just like, oh, cool. Then yeah.
But have you heard a lot of negative things about it? That was like, oh, okay, there's a lot of people talking bad about this show, probably because it sucks. I'm not gonna watch it.
Well, I only heard like really bad things recently. But I do watch a few video essays, and then Ruby gets, there was this one video, I can't remember what it was, but it mentioned Ruby or something about how the recent seasons are. I was like, oh, okay. There's
Well,
only like a passing mention, so he didn't really go in depth.
okay. I mean, I watched a 2.5 hour video about why Ruby sucks, and it's during the first 3 volumes. It was
Oh,
very entertaining.
I didn't really do any research on it. I don't care, to be honest. But I would watch the new anime that's currently airing right now.
Yeah, I guess what? It took them a month to release a brand new episode when the first 3 came out for some bloody reason.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like when the show came out, they released the first 3 episodes as a batch, like basically a premiere movie, if I'm going to be honest. But now it's gone, and then we had to wait for like a month for episode 4. So imagine the impatience.
So is it like weekly now or
It's
what?
it's it's weekly now. My guess, 12
Oh.
episodes, which is pretty standard for anime. And plus,
Mm.
they, let's be honest, Rooster Teeth and the studio doesn't have that big of a budget to make
Uh.
24 episodes. I mean, unlike other famous popular series like, let's say, Demon Slayer or My Hero Academia.
That's fair.
For AMHA, they did start with 13 episodes, but since the series was a massive hit, they gave the rest of the seasons following up have 25 episodes each.
Well, it's Ruby, but with 2D animation. So a lot more people will be coming in to support the show because 3D doesn't really have a good rep in anime.
That treat their employees like garbage when it comes to their work schedule.
Well, yes, but they're still built different.
True, but don't forget this. There is this one CGI anime that's actually really popular despite being CGI, and that is Beastars.
That is true. Yeah, Beastar, but that's only because it's 100% CG. But if it's CG blended with 2D, then it's not very popular unless you're Attack on Titan.
It's 98% CGI. Well, it's 2% hand drawn because making a model for the CGI animals is just painful. If you're not going to use it that much, then use them.
Mm.
Then it's smart to use the hand drawn approach for a large majority of the background characters.
Fair.
Yeah, honestly, like
Well,
the CGI is
mhm.
actually really darn good in Beastars. Like in season 1 and 2, it's phenomenal. I loved it.
Speaking of CG, I wouldn't really mind, the guys doing the JOJO openings,
Oh
the
yeah,
CG JOJO openings.
oh
Like, I wouldn't
yeah,
really mind doing like a few JOJO episodes with that, like
yeah,
CGI stuff because it's really good looking. But it's never gonna happen. But I like the dream.
yeah. True. I mean, it's kind of weird they didn't switch to CGI after part 4. Yeah, part 4. Part 1, I kind of get. It's only 9 episodes. Why would you need make a lot of CGI models for something you're just gonna
Mm.
use once and never again instead of continuing using it? Part 2, I guess, longer is a bit also a little shorter, and it also follows the same problems as the first
Oh.
one. If you make CGI models, Part 3 is the one I could see using the CGI a lot more because
Mhm.
because there's a lot of episodes this time. Part 4. Sorry, part 3 is the CGI I can see them doing a lot with. Part 4, not really, because the art style is a lot more simpler and easier than the first 3 parts.
It's kind of weird. Like, part 4 seems like the black sheep when it comes to the rest of the adaptations because parts 1 to 3 has like the muscular part, JoJo style, but then you watch part 4, and it's like it looks like a regular anime. No offense, obviously, regular anime looks fine, but it's not really JoJo. But then you see part 5 and 6, and then it's like, oh, that's JoJo's art style, you know.
Yeah,
So
like
part four,
yeah, like I remember you telling me once that Araki was trying to do a different style because he was kind of sick of doing muscular men. So I guess that explains why
um,
part 4 is like that. Where part 5 and 6 look fantastic.
part four, like if you read the manga, the beginning of part four looked more like part three, but then right at the end, he was, I guess like I guess part four was more like the transition from muscular men to, you
Normal
know,
people.
uh, diva models basically.
Oh yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Mm.
like every time I see like something out of JoJo, I'm like every time I look at it, I just like, is everyone gay? Because that's the vibes I'm getting at.
No. Araki takes a lot of inspiration from fashion models, I
Uh,
believe,
oh yeah, he
and he
does.
draws a lot. And he draws a lot of poses from like fashion models, and he draws a lot of proportions from sculptures, I believe.
And magazines. I saw the videos where
Mm,
he was referencing them.
yeah,
I saw them.
like the drawings he makes are really great, to be honest, especially the ones in part 7 and 8.
Yeah, like his art style is unique. It makes him stand
Mm-hmm.
out among the rest. So like whenever I see like a different show
Yeah.
that has that kind of art style, it's like, oh, is this did Muraki made this? Did he directed this? Is this from the same studio? Yeah, which if I remember right, JoJo's does have a spinoff, which I don't know why, but more content. Although that guy
So,
needs a lot of rest. He's been doing it longer than Oda.
I mean, I think there's a part 9 coming in this December.
Yeah, how long did part 8 last? I heard it was lasting until
For
2006
about
to
11
2020.
years.
11 years. That's
11 years
the
tops.
longest part.
Yeah,
Oh,
indeed. Yeah. I mean, it was like 112 chapters,
okay.
and it's monthly as well.
Well, I mean,
So,
if it's monthly, it managed to last for 11 years, similar to another manga known as Attack on Titan has been going on for 10 years with one chapter a month.
mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And he probably took more breaks than Isayama. So,
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, with the art style is with his art style, it does require a lot of detail and concentration.
but but to be honest, like I want the guy to take a break as well, and he's relatively healthy. I mean, do you see like his
Oh, I know.
like
He
recent
ages
photo?
backwards.
Just like Jotaro. No wonder Jotaro's his favorite character.
Wait, Jotaro.
No, yeah. I believe he said Josuke is his favorite character, but the way he basically as Jotaro in every freaking part of the
I
of
mean,
the manga.
some other series I know, like only one, for instance, is actually following in JoJo's footsteps when it comes to parts. One example being Chainsaw Man. I never read the manga.
Hmm.
I never read it. Although I do know about that one character that everyone relates to and say he's an absolute Chad. It's like
He's just like me, for real.
he's just like me. I don't know his name,
Hey man,
but
he just wants to touch some boobs.
you know, I relate to that. But I like how he has that need, but he never actually goes through with it. If it means, but if he does, because he wants to do it with consent. He doesn't want to do it like say Mineta.
What a shit. I wouldn't say that Chainsaw Man is like JoJo. Like, yeah, it does do it in parts, but I think the part thing was just the author maybe wanted to take a break and plan his story for a bit more.
Yeah, if I remember right,
You
he
know.
made several one shots that kind of relates to his experience working with the manga. I'm not even kidding. Like when I saw the episodes of part 1, I was like, wow, it's sure taken quite a while to get the thing they need to do the thing. Like when I
It's
saw,
just
I mean, and it's cheesy as heck. I know that's the nature of it, but dang.
well, part one was where Araki was a very young writer.
Oh
He,
yeah.
it definitely shows.
Really shows. I'm kind of upset that the part that the anime didn't, change it to be better.
There's no need to change it, to be honest, because there's not really much to change. It's a relatively short part, and if you can't get through it, then you don't. Well, you don't deserve JoJo.
I mean, like, isn't part 1 like what 5 volumes, while the anime only had like what 9 episodes?
To be fair, like 5 volumes, which is about 44 chapters, I think. That's like really short because it's like a weekly manga. That's really short.
It is true. And if we take it, and if it's monthly, which is like, if we're gonna be honest, 40 pages is basically a episode.
And plus, I'm sure they cut some content in order to make the pacing much faster. They probably knew that Phantom Blood was kind of on the boring side. of things. I mean,
Underwhelming.
yeah,
I wouldn't call part one
obviously, yeah.
boring. Like the argument of okay, just after the anime gets good after a certain amount of episodes, but like
Mm,
it especially applies hard to JoJo because you have to make basically you have
mm,
to suffer part one. Sorry, not suffer. You have to
mm,
endure part one in order to get to the good stuff. Which it's only 9
yeah.
episodes. It's not too much, but you'll feel it. But hey,
Mm,
there is some highlights to part one that I am gonna give
mhm,
credit to, like Jonathan and Dio. That's what I
yeah.
really enjoyed watching a lot. And the ending gave me some tears to their goodbye.
And honestly, part one. The thing about part one is that it gets good in like the first few episodes. Like the first three, the first one where Jonathan and Dio, their like whole dynamic is established, great episode. Then the second and third episode where Dio turns into a vampire and all that, good episodes. Then that time when Jonathan learns Harmon, also good episodes. The only boring part is when he went up against like the two knights or something.
Oh, I actually enjoyed that part.
I didn't really enjoy. I was actually sleeping, bro. I was actually considering just dropping the anime there, but I just persevered. But then the final fight with Dio, like at the castle and the ship, was just really good.
Yeah, honestly, I love the fight between Dio and their first fight of Dio and Jonathan when
Hmm.
Dio became a vampire. That was actually really, really good.
I know. Yeah, that was like surprisingly great.
Yeah,
Like honestly,
and
like
he doesn't even have Hamon, so that's even extra special.
honestly, Jonathan is just built different.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like I think if the animators really wanted to make part one better, they could just made the fight against the two knights much shorter.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, because like the most interesting part about part one is, well, Jonathan and Dio's relationship, and we only had like two fights,
Well,
which is like kind of a shame.
two fights of them being two fights of Dio, vampire Dio. One other
Mm.
fight for normal Dio.
Nah, that's true. That's true.
Two normal human ones. Like when when they were boxing and when Jonathan was running into the mansion about to fight Dio and stuff after.
That part was so satisfying.
Yeah, it was. Oh, and the voice acting for, I know you hate on the dubs a lot, but dang, Johnny Young Bosch does a great job as Jonathan Joestar.
I don't know, bro. Like, you know how like a lot of other anime have their dubs all over the internet, or JoJo has like does not have that at all. So hearing the dub voices is kind of weird to me because I only exclusively hear the sub. But other animes like My Hero Academia, I always hear the dub around the internet somewhere. But JoJo, I just hear the sub, so I'm not really used to the dub. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's like you're so used to watching the sub, is that you just, but sometimes, so it's a little weird to see something, to watch something else in a completely different language. I get that completely.
Mhm.
Like
And plus,
it's weird. Like, or sometimes you watch the dub for so long, you actually grew to hate it, and you prefer the sub despite never seeing the sub before, which is me with RWBY. I mean, look. I met the voice actresses of the main cast. They're good people, despite their flaws, especially the Blake one. Who, like, when the RWBY anime was announced, the voice actress for Blake went out to Twitter and said that she is uncomfortable that the writer of someone who abused a woman who was her wife, which is weird because that case was happened in 2015, and he was proven innocent, and his wife pleaded him innocent because he never did it. So basically, the VA for Blake accused the innocent man of something he didn't do. He even went out to her on Twitter saying that he's been proven innocent and happened like years ago, and his wife and his ex-wife and him are in good terms.
oh,
They have like
that's nice.
yeah. They see each other as friends instead of lovers, which honestly is the best result you can get after a divorce. Yeah, and it was like embarrassing. Like she embarrassed herself.
Honestly, it's kind of sad, that it's so rare to have exes be friends.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see that like often.
Yeah, so it's kind of refreshing. But anyway, as I was saying,
Yeah.
the reason why I say the dub is because after watching the show for so long, and after seeing these characters making all these stupid decisions, character regressing, I'm dooming it character regressing instead of character development. It's just that I just can't stand every time I hear the voice, I just keep thinking all the dumb things they've done like in the show. So when I watch the sub, it feels like a refreshing coat of paint. Like it's new, it's fresh. when I watch it, I don't think about all the stupid things they've done in later volumes.
So
It's
so
basically
you watched the sub for the anime, for the
yeah.
RWBY anime?
I'm only watching it sub. I refuse to watch it dub. I refuse.
Honestly, the only reason, like one of the only reasons I exclusively just watch JoJo in sub is because I just want to hear the Japanese voice for Dio. He's just sexy.
Yeah, but hey, let's be fair to Patrick. He does phenomenal as Dio too in the English
That's
dub.
true, but like, bro, nice.
Like legit. After that awful quote, she's not protecting me, Adam, and I'm not protecting her. We're protecting each other. And then they kill him, and then they hold hands and cry, and then keep holding hands on the next scene, and then the next volume they just stare at each other, wanting to kiss or something. I don't know.
Wow, what a romantic first date.
Yeah.
Oh, kill me. I just cringed so hard.
Yeah. Imagine how I feel just explaining that to you.
You know, if the anime actually adapted it like that, then I would actually just die on the spot.
Don't worry, the anime doesn't cover that. I want to give you a fun fact about that fight, by the way. You know, most of the fight that they done was actually already rendered a couple of years ago, back from a former animator that left because of the terrible higher up cooperation, how they were treating the staff and treating the show. Like originally, that fight that was rendered in the sixth one was going to be the first fight. The three we're gonna have Blake and Yang versus the main dude. It's gonna be like a 2-on-1. He's holding his own, and they're trying their best to land a hit. And then something happened, and something. But then when he did the fight, they were like, "Hey, actually, we want to do this instead." It was like, but what about this fight? Well, we could put it later in a later volume. And they did do that. They did. So instead, they created this guy. They made this guy the biggest house by one-shotting the Yang, the blonde-haired girl, by cutting her arm off and make her faint instantly. Well, while it's a shock value, which got me shocked when I saw it for the first time years ago. Basically, they created this power grab, not make the characters train or fight much to get stronger. And when they fought the second time, the guy lost.
Wow, that sounds unearned.
It is unearned.
They should have just done that fight first, you know.
Yeah, like make the that was usually the plan before the creator died.
So they pushed it back because they wanted this to happen first, correct?
Yes.
And then they didn't do anything with the loss. So basically the whole thing was just pointless, and they should just put that fight first.
Yep.
Correct?
Yep, correct. And you know what's even worse? The guy gets one shot by a freaking back hit from the girl who never fought him, Blake. She's really like just behind him as he runs forward, and then she just freaking put her fist together and just slams into the ground, one-shotting him. Just like, you know, she doesn't have super strength.
I'm not sure whether the writers know the concept of
power scaling. Even Dragon Ball does
it better.
What do
you call it? Good character payoff, basically, yeah.
Yeah, they don't know how to do that. Oh yeah, they also they also don't understand power scaling, consistency, and payoff moments, as we just said. Would you believe
That's stupid.
Would you believe if I told you that the main characters actually became the villains in volume 7 and 8? Not like
why?
Not even like the Eren Yeager type. I'm talking like they try to make this guy who's trying to do his best to do the right thing and is actually making a lot of good calls because it involves sacrifice, and that he's thinking the long term. They just show up and they think in the short term, thinking like, no, this is wrong. I don't trust him. Let's treat him like the enemy, even though the real enemy is the real concern and not him, when he's really on our side. You know what's the reason why they don't trust him? Because he arrested them for stealing his property, to invade his territory. Like even the sister of one of the main characters pointed out, like, so you stole an aircraft to sneak in here. And guess what? When the guy found out he was the students of Ozpin, it was like, oh, okay, they're them. You know, it's I apologize. You can go free and you can stay here, and we can provide you as much things you need. A place to stay, some food. He even gave them graduation cards of the goal they really wanted to be, huntresses and huntresses. And how they say thank you? By basically guilt tripping him and making him feel like he's wrong. And treating him like the bad guy and not giving him trust at all.
Okay, so the writers can't even do the bare minimum of making likable characters. Got it.
Yeah, it's weird. They accidentally made the character they want us to hate the best character of that volume because people like even the whole fandom was on his side.
I don't understand. Like, why are the writers like this?
Yeah, the more I tell you about RWBY, the more you're like, wow, I'm never gonna watch the main show.
I'm probably not, since the anime is already. It sounds more like a more streamlined version of it.
Yeah, and honestly has a lot more effort in terms of writing because they got an actual writer for it, who, by the way, wrote stuff for Madoka Magica, a fairly popular anime.
Oh, I've heard good things about Madoka Magica, so maybe I'll have some expectation of the RWBY anime.
Yeah. Let me tell you, two of the characters in that team are sisters, and you're told about that in the first volume. You won't be surprised that you'll forget that they're sisters later on because they never act like sisters ever again.
Oh, I was afraid you say something like, "Oh, they get together" or something.
Honestly, like if you see art of them getting together, like the first you're like, oh, okay, instead of disgust.
Bro, what? Who are these characters, bro?
Yang and RWBY. But the thing is, the show doesn't they don't act like sisters to each other in the show at all. I already talked about how awful Bumblebee is and how it basically assassinates the characters.
Honestly, it sounds like if they actually built it up properly with both of them instead of just some random dude that they were just bringing to Recon anyways.
Yeah.
It could have been a lot better and would be more satisfying for everybody.
Yeah, here's another thing. Them getting together is another slap to the creator's face because the creator said that the team are a sisterhood. They see each other and treat each other like sisters. So what happens if you make one of the two sisters lovers to each other? What happens?
Sweet home Alabama.
I'm not gonna tell you. The Yang gives more attention and thought to Blake over her own sister and worries more about her lover than her sister. Like, I keep forgetting that the two are sisters.
What am I supposed to do with this information?
Let's see here. You're supposed to use this information to never watch the show. Did you know that RWBY is actually a fanfic off of Avatar? I'm being serious. It's a legit Avatar fanfiction. Here's the similarities. The two main characters have a power that makes their eyes glow. Okay, nothing special. Let me keep going. In Avatar, they have this thing called the Four Nations. In RWBY, they have a thing called the Four Kingdoms.
Okay.
Let me keep going. Okay, and then in Avatar, there's four elemental powers that to each other. In RWBY, there's four elemental maidens. The creators try to admit that one of the characters is just Sokka. And let's see here. Oh, yeah. They also have this character that can reincarnate into other people's bodies. And what does the Avatar do when it dies? It reincarnates its power to a different body. Oh yeah, and also it's opening.
Honestly,
there's also an opening scene that's also ripped straight out of Korra. Like after the main character defeats the bad, and then the police, and then the enforcers show up, they immediately lock the main character into a jail into interrogation scene in a jailhouse. Yeah, I basically made my point. I even told that to the voice actress of Blake. Like, I'm very excited for Avatar Volume 9, and she just laughed. Like, if you see like a whole season of after Volume 4, you're like, oh my goodness, I'd rather watch Arrow than this.
For real?
For reals. You wish you'd rather hear about an island for another 50 times for 3 episodes instead of a whole season of characters being stupid. Yeah, okay, let me go on. Okay. Yeah, the Yang's mother named Raven, who could turn into a bird, by the way. Okay, she hates Ozpin, like the teacher mentor, for giving her an option and her own choice to have the ability to turn into a bird. And she's mad at the guy giving her a choice to turn into a bird. And acting like she didn't have a choice. And by the way, her brother was given the same offer too. And guess what? He's been using it to his fullest ability, which is very beneficial. He could fly. He could spy on people. He could, fly. He could fly from distances.
He can fly.
Yeah.
He can fly.
And he can
also fly.
He can stealth into places.
And he can also fly, by the way. Did you know that he can fly?
He can fly.
I believe I said he could fly.
He can fly.
I think yes.
He can fly.
He can fly, by the way. Who would want to turn into a bird? I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, and guess what? The daughter Yang is mad at the guy for giving the option to her mother to turn into a bird that can fly instead of
Bro,
instead of being mad at him for reincarnating into this random teenage boy and forcing him to go on this dangerous adventure.
bro, if somebody told me that I could become a bird, I'd take it, bro. I don't know what she's on, bro.
Yeah, but the best part, you can change to a bird at will and change back whenever you want. Yeah, again, they're all mad at the guy for giving her a choice.
I mean, it's a choice. You could just say no.
Instead of being
Don't be mad.
Yeah, instead of being mad at the guy who's forcing a random teenager into this journey. Oh man, what else is there for me to say? Oh yes, Cinder. I almost forgot about her. I wish I did forgot about her. Okay, guess what? She was introduced in Volume 1, and she gets her backstory. Okay, tell me. I want you to guess what backstory, what volume gets her backstory. There's 8 volumes currently, so which volume explores her backstory?
Season 6.
Wrong. Season 8.
What the?
Yes, they introduced this villain that's been part of the series since forever, and they gave her a backstory in Volume 8 instead of Volume 5 or Volume 4, Volume 8.
Did they drop hints about what her backstory was? Or what?
Well, her backstory, okay. From the beginning, we introduced that she is a mad woman with power, who wants more power. And so in her backstory, she was a slave, and all she wants is to have more power. So
Understandable.
Basically, all her life, she's been this person all her life who just wants more power.
She's a slave and she wants more power. Just okay. Anything else?
Well, there's this guy that came in and did nothing. Instead, it makes things worse. I don't care. I really don't care. Oh yeah.
I mean, to be fair, you're tired of hearing.
Oh wait. I almost forgot to tell you this. In Volume 2, there's this 2 characters that were introduced. This girl named Emerald, who is the baddie, who has no remorse for doing the bad things she's done. But in Volume 8, when she was scared for her own life and doesn't regret anything she does, she becomes good and immediately gets accepted into Team RWBY with their full trust. By the way, they didn't trust Ironwood, the guy people were on their side in Volume 7, the one they want us to hate but end up being the best character in Volume 7. Like they distrust a good guy with good intentions and tries to with what little he can do over a freaking villain who who doesn't feel bad at all for all the innocent people she killed, and you'll only join them just out of fear for her own life.
So basically, the writers just want us to hate every character possible. Can't these writers be competent at least at the most base level? No, making likable characters is literally the minimum that you can do. How do you that up?
I don't know. You gotta be a special bad if you're RWBY.
Even characters like Bakugo can be likable at times. You cannot be serious.
Yeah. You'd be surprised how many people prefer Bakugo over freaking almost every character in RWBY. The only ones people legit like still is Ironwood in Volume 7 and the girl that never talks, because since she can never talk, the writers can't make any dialogue for her to say, which could ruin her character.
That's not a very high standard. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't understand either. Oh yeah.
It's just a fan fiction for budget.
That's because that's what it is. It's weird because the budget is $1 million per season.
That's not bad actually. Independent creators,
Yeah, despite being owned by Warner Brothers. Which, by the way, they're doing a crossover Justice League movie with RWBY, by the way. They announced it.
No. Why?
Yeah. Well, let's see here. Because RWBY is actually owned by Warner Brothers.
I don't even watch it. I'm already getting tired of it.
Anyway, yeah, RWBY. What's your expectations of the RWBY anime Ice Queendom?
All-time low with a bit of hope.
All-time low with a bit of hope after what I told you about the main series.
Yes.
Look, I could tell you this: you'll have a decent time watching the anime. You'll have a decent time. They actually expanded on some stuff from before. They cut off a lot of unnecessary things. I forgot to tell you this. In Volume 1, or maybe 2, I'm not sure. Volume 1, they had one of the main characters, Weiss, be racist towards the furry people, in the original. But then they were like,
really?
Yeah, because of because of the environment she grew up in with her families and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, and guess what?
Makes sense.
Okay. you know how they resolved it? They immediately say, you know what? Okay, after being gone for a while and thinking, I decided to be. I don't care if you're with them. You're good with me, and let's move on. Tell me how unsatisfying that is to you.
That sounds not realistic at all.
Yeah. So what the anime does, they introduce this new Grim called Nightmare, and it got her because of her insecurities and stuff and mental blah blah blah. Basically, they added some dialogue that actually makes the arguments between them stronger. When something that actually sticks out to me. And then when they played that scene, like after thinking for a while, I decided to not be jerks with you. But here's a twist. The Grim, when she went to sleep, the Grim went into her mind and said like, "No, you're just lying to yourself. You still don't really trust them." And then sends her into a comatose where she's in a dream world where how she sees the world, with her racist ideals still there, and the characters and the characters have to invade her mind to save her. And there's an interesting visual storytelling. Blake, like the faunists in that world are fully animal. But Blake is half. When Blake goes in, she's actually half human, half animal, meaning that Weiss is still indifferent about her. She still sees her as a faunist that is responsible, but she still sees the human qualities within Blake.
That sounds like an interesting thing. It'll take like if it's like that, then it'll take quite a bit more time to resolve that little thing.
Yeah, exactly. They're actually doing it well and in good taste too.
Wow, actual drawn out storytelling. Who would have guessed?
Yep. And also, since it's called Ice Queen, that girl is kind of the main character and not the actual main character of the entire show. But it's its own thing, and I'm actually happy for it because the main character actually acts like a 15-year-old girl instead of this Naruto Steven Universe wannabe in the main show. Because man, the speech that she gives out in the show just makes you want to die.
Well, you know how main characters are sometimes. Sometimes the side characters will steal the spotlight.
Yeah, but here's the thing: almost none of the side characters in the show steal the spotlight. And here's the thing: Naruto does it so good that everything else just looks awful, and it is genuinely awful, like Steven Universe and freaking RWBY.
The one writer was probably like, he looked at the original RWBY and was like, okay, what you guys did was give it to me and I'll make it better.
Yeah, that's what he did.
This man is carrying this series on his back like a champ. Peace out, my ghost army. Kill me now.
Oh man, he's gonna kill you. Oh man, bye man.